not gonna put it on your face?
Yeah. Damn it, I forgot what I was talking about. Fuck, what was I talking about?
Well, we're just stuck in a wasteland, you know, and we're getting overpopulated, and the world's going into a fucking downward spiral.
Oh yeah, so like, it started off as these fucking monkeys, and you know, I think the biggest thing that AI is going to question when it gains initial sentience is like a consciousness or a frequency in which it can make its own decisions or whatever you want to call it is why in mankind we spent so much time breeding and sacrificing, you know. It's like, especially when AI looks at us and we realize that we had the key all along to live for thousands of years. I mean, not all along, but you know, certainly for the past 20, 30 years. I just think that society has failed. It's failed me, and the reason why it's failed me is because my parents, they passed me down a legacy of fucking bullshit. They've passed me down just a legacy of you live, you pass on all your problems of your carbon legacy, amount of pollution, all of your material items, and deep inner psychological problems right down to the next generation. And we just pass down all the problems and never really come up to any sort of solution, and we're too busy stunting our spiritual growth with sex and the created problems affiliated to sex and the energy exchange conducive to that or whatever. And we literally are just stuck in this cyclical cycle. I mean, could you imagine if we had the artificial technology to be able to stimulate the cells in our body to live for thousands of years, how difficult it would be to control? You know, there would be like, I feel a lot less problems after like you get past the first fucking 100-year hurdle and you're still sitting here feeling like you're in your 20s. You know, it'd be awesome, and it'd be so hard to control. And it's like all the information that gets lost down from generation to generation is just crazy. And the fact of the matter is you know, 2,000 years ago we're all related, and I just think that relationships put a lot of unnecessary tension upon us as sentient beings. I believe that we're all supposed to be family. We're all supposed to work together in unison and for the greater good of all. And I think that we get caught up in this alpha and beta, and all this tension is like bad. Plus, on a biological level, it's like, I don't really think that having sex is healthy with all of the DNA confusion. And why is it that there is male DNA inside of all female brains? And would that cause a DNA confusion, some type of chemical imbalance or synapse or neural imbalance inside of the brain that would create a constant disdain and a constant craving between the DNA? Like, imagine like if DNA confusion happens every time you have sex, and then they traced it back and they found it to be inside of the female brain. What that would do to the synapses, when they've proven that semen can change on a chemical level through CAT scans and through testing, or however they did it. Probably pull up the study here in the link. It is like, what was I talking about?
DNA exchange, something you just said. You said Neuralink,
Oh fuck.
CAT scans.
Oh yeah. So like they did CAT scans. I don't think I said Neuralink. Not yet.
No, not yet.
So they did CAT scans, and in the female brain, and they found that semen changes the way the female brain, females, women, whatever you want to call them, snatch the way they see things.
They taste things.
Sorry, back on a real level, because this is very serious, kids. Damn kids. Listen up. Serious shit. They did studies that semen, when women eat semen or they take it into their pussy or whatever, it changes the way...
Or it comes in contact with their bodies.
Or it comes... Yeah, let's say it that way, where it comes in contact with their bodies. Okay, it's pretty damn funny. I'll take a second to laugh. Okay? I'm laughing at myself here. It's pretty fucking funny. But it's sick and true. That it changes the way they see, the way the synapses in their brain work, the way they taste and feel. And that's a pretty crazy thing. You know, it's almost like it is a drug. I mean, if a drug is something that changes the way you see, taste, and feel things, and it changes the way the neural pathways in your brain work, and you're getting high from that and reacting upon the high, and it's pretty interesting. Well, it's also pretty interesting what it is that semen is on a genetic level. You know, it's like semen is, what is it? It's mitochondria, which is energy. And then it's like a stem cell. It's a DNA code in a mitochondria. So it's a little bit of code and energy for a cell. Now that can be transitioned quickly in the body to turn into like a skin cell. You know, every skin cell in our body is replaced. Shit, it's like every 3 years. Some of them every 2 to 3 weeks on top. Constantly shedding skin cells. Constantly shedding cells. Every single cell in our body is replaced every 7 years, other than accumulated damage. Why is it that we age? In my mind goes to DNA confusion, but on a different concept and a different level. It goes to DNA confusion on a level of cancer. Like, we'll take like throat cancer, for instance, smoking. So tobacco has 4 DNA mutagens. And basically, essentially what that means is it's carcinogenic. Carcinogenic meaning cancerous. And what that means is that you're taking, I think, the most common DNA mutation to form like a cancer lump in your throat from smoking is when the TNA turns into an RNA. In that mutation, they don't bind together like puzzle pieces the same way anymore, so then they get bigger, right? And then they form a lump. Pretty interesting. And that's like another form of DNA confusion. And it's like, if every single cell in our body is replaced every 7 years, other than accumulated damage, like, you know, cutting your finger off or something, like, why is it that we age? You know, like, why is it? Is it like, because on a biological level we're setting ourselves up for failure and we have the key to life and divinity from within inside, from within all? You know, it's like, what if we could get off of this sacrificial based society in which, you know, our diet, our money, like, you know, every single one of us here is fucking paid to rape the earth and fucking whatever it is. I don't care if you're cashing out groceries at a grocery store. You're taking your money. You're paying for goods, the semis, the trucks. It's a carbon based. And if carbon is sacrificial, if you can imagine the sacrifice being raping the planet, clear cutting, industrial farming, Monsanto. Please look up Monsanto. If you don't know what Monsanto is, please look up Monsanto. You know, and all these farms and all this shit. You know, it's like, and the trees and the ocean and everything dying is a sacrifice, and our money is just that. It's like we run on a sacrifice-based society, and we run on a sacrifice-based society where we reward and we structure ourselves on it, and then we all want to be like a part of something, so we revolve that around sex, and then sex turns into the bigger picture. So you take it a full picture. I know we're kind of stretching it out, and you know, kind of a little scatterbrained here. It's going to be my first YouTube video, I think, just kind of off the cuff here, but you take like the sacrificial based society and the aspect of the sex as far as the DNA exchange, the confusion in the man, and what it is this semen is, right? Research. Do your own research, you know. First thing you can look up is sex healthy for you? Yes. And then you can look up, does sex make you smarter? Or not having sex make you smarter? And then it'll be yes. Does having sex make you smarter? Yes. There's a lot of either way information. It's hard to find information that's counterculture, that disagrees with whatever everyone's already agreed upon in a failed system that is subservient, that has failed us. But like, okay, if semen is mitochondria and they did CAT scans and they proven that it changes the way a woman's mind perceives reality, we'll say. And right, and that's what that is. And jerking off is known to make you depressed because you're exhaling all that energy, just blowing it all, and not using it for anything. So and then this stat is a hard one to find, but it is accurate. If you come inside of a woman in a way that makes her pregnant, or yes, right, it's known to make her immune system go 150% better, work 150% better for 7 days, and it's known to make her 150% less likely to be depressed for 7 days. Whatever that equates to in other numbers, but I know it was equated in percentiles and it was a relative fact like that. What it comes down to is you blow low inside of a woman, she's way less likely to be depressed, and her immune system and her cellular reproduction, as far as what she's doing, is just on overdrive because it just got a lot of stem cells and mitochondria that can be easily coded, right? But then that goes inside of her body and it creates a constant confusion. What that constant confusion creates on the outside is the man having to provide for everything. That's why 95% of marriages fail. Look at the stat. 95% of marriages fail. If the man makes even 1 cent less per hour or more than the female. The reason being is because when you have a relationship that's set up that revolves on sacrifice, it creates a sacrificial-based relationship where you need all of the stem cells for keeping yourself healthy at the sacrifice of your partner, right? And then you need all of their time, all of their money, all of their friends, everything. And it's a sick cycle. And a lot of you could say that it's misogynistic. I don't really give a fuck. What it is I'm using facts and I'm trying to explain why it is that we're all sick. And I think it's more or less everyone's fault, more even fuck the man's fault for not thinking of what he's doing. I mean, just taking sovereignty for your own actions and realizing that action creates a very volatile situation, and I think it's hidden, and everything's just done in a fucking facade. And that's why most marriages fail. It's like 65%, and the successful ones are most other than 5% of the successful ones are if the man makes way more money than the female and provides and does those things. And I think that there's a better way that we can go about it. Looking at reality in that aspect, in that lens, and seeing that society has failed me, and the aspect of I don't really feel like sacrificing and raping the planet anymore to sustain myself, even though society is shaped and formed to do so I can have a better looking girlfriend and treat them like items compared to all of my friends. It's fucking disgusting, I feel. And and as an item, and the tension that it creates among like just trying to talk to chicks, it's like, oh, you're trying to fuck me. It's like, no, I'm just trying to be your friend. It's like, well, I'm with him. It's like, no, how about we're just all family, everyone's one. You like eliminate the sexual tension. You just be like 5 people laying down in a room and just be comfortable with each other without any tension. It'd be pretty cool. And also to go to a zero carbon based economy would be really badass, where like AI takes over. I like Elon Musk in 3 years, when they say that like potentially, depending if we're ready for the paradigm shift or not in work and priding ourselves on work and fucking what it is that work represents, and fucking you know, if you take away their jobs and you just give them a house and a relative abundance, and you form capitalist society off how much you can carbon offset to how much you can carbon set, and that's how you get the things that you want, like a Trump Tower or something that creates a lot of emissions, you know, be pretty damn cool. I mean, could you imagine a reality where people stopped breeding and treated each other like family, like everyone was family, like brothers and sisters, because we realized that, you know, breeding and having a lifespan and a cycle and passing off all of our problems to the next generation just hasn't fucking worked so well, you know? I mean, I just don't think so. And to like make a stand instead of stunting our growth by giving away all of our energy on one side and causing such a genetic confusion on the other side that it's hard to stay emotionally stable and comprehend reality in a way that's not what is that word? Self-revolving, self-entitling, you know, some shit like that, you know, and we could just like work in harmonization with the planet and treat each other like brothers and sisters and work on raising our life expectancy for thousands of years. Could you imagine that? And we could all just stick around like a family for thousands of years and stop destroying the planet. Just imagine how cool of a reality that would be.